Freddie Montero, you've been around this organization, and just what he means, the type of player he is in terms of the community, his willingness to be a servant to the club.
Yeah. Let's talk about Freddie in a human level. Super talented soccer player when he was young, had a great career, came back, and now has reintegrated. I don't know if he ever left, so maybe he continued to integrate himself into the community of Seattle. Owned some coffee shops. Everybody should go. Try Santos Coffee. Family man, 3 beautiful daughters, nice family. Just the kind of people you want to hang around with, the kind of people you want to have within your organization, the kind of leadership that he provides on and off the field. Because you all see his leadership last night. 120 minutes, he hasn't played in a long time. He guts out 120 minutes in a hard game, scores a winning penalty kick, but he's talking to the young guys this morning. When we're doing film, he's telling some of the young guys, okay, yeah, we did the, he's just a good guy. And so we're lucky to have him.
On that note, is this also the end of your golden generation? Because you got Steph Fry as well, you got Christian Logan. Do you ever think about that?
No, well, Steph wants to play a few more years. Freddie wants to play a few more years. Christian will play a few more years. Are you talking about the team that started in 2016 or the 2009, or what generation are you talking about?
I guess I was just throwing that term that gets used in soccer, but whenever you've got players that embody your organization and they continue to play, you know what I mean?
I think we're developing players that embody what we stand for. We do it fairly well. A case in point, again, when I watch some of the film back, Cody Baker embodies what the Sounders are about. It's next man up. Nuhu still with his illness. Kellen was going to start. The kid was in Houston, played 90 minutes for Defiance, had a terrible flight coming back on Monday. They had to get up like 4 in the morning, fly back to Seattle. He had 1 day prep. He comes in and plays 120 minutes. Next guy up, and the kid was pretty good, by the way. His left-footed pass to Rothrock for Rothrock's 3rd goal. Not many left-footers can make that pass. Rothrock, you want to talk about him? Another guy. Let's talk about Wade. Let's talk about Wade developing character. Let's talk about Wade and the job that Henry does, and up and down throughout the organization. We're developing those people as we go along. So, is there a golden generation? Maybe. Ozzy. Yeah, Freddie. We had a good team in 2016. A good team in 2009. A great team in 2019. Champions League winner in 2022. We had a lot of good people.
Talk about development there. Let's go to the other fullback spot, Reed Baker Whiting. When he came back from the national team and had made that switch to fullback, how long did it take you guys to figure out that he can play that spot at a high level?
Well, Jackson, I'll correct you. I still think Reed has a lot in his game. I still think he can play higher up the field. But the kid played really well at right back. He's got good range. Work on his heading a little bit. It's always handy to have outside backs here a little taller. He's ambidextrous. He can kick the ball with both feet. So that's what helped him playing out there from a little deeper position, cutting inside, finding passes, wherever he ends up playing. Because he likes the right back. If you ask him, he likes it.
Yeah.
I think he's comfortable there. Wherever he ends up, he's going to be good.
But it sounds like you're still keeping the door open for
I'm keeping
number.
the door open.
Yeah.
I might be one of 5 coaches, but I still think he's got a lot of blankety blank to his game.
You mentioned watching the film back. You mentioned a few guys, but in terms of the overall game itself, 5-4, the excitement of it, you've had now about 14 hours to reflect on that. I mean, when was the last time we saw anything like that out there?
I was talking to Adrian, and this is his quote, not mine, so I can't take credit for it. But, he was talking about, we've had some really big games in this organization. MLS Cups, win Champions League. That game was just as exciting as the Champions League final. I mean, come on. It was 5-4, back and forth, good teams slugging it out. I mean, it was an exciting soccer match. I enjoyed it. I thought, I put it on my notes here, I thought Nate did a good job. The Loyal's a good team. I love the way they try and play out of the back. They have an identity. It might have cost them a couple times on that field, but I love that he's sticking to it. I heard that they might be one of the favorites. I mean, them in Vegas, but maybe San Diego's kind of pulled ahead as the 30th team. I'd love to see that. They did a great job. I thought the Loyal was a good opponent.
Purely from a developmental perspective, was that how important was that game? Just to
games like that?
Yeah, games like that.
You can't measure that. The intensity, the pressure, playing against a good opponent. I mean, you can't measure that kind of experience for Reed, for Cody. Other guys stepped up. It was good for AB to get his feet wet again. It was good for Javi to get his feet wet again. For Ethan Doubelair, there's a kid that played pretty good. I really appreciate the fact that Leo Chu wanted to play. It's good for him. Build his confidence.
I imagine you probably would. Maybe you don't. I don't know. You want to advance from that game regardless. But if you could kind of draw it up where you have to battle for 120 minutes, you are only really able to use guys that are deeper on the roster. I mean, is that sort of the ideal circumstance for an Open Cup game, or early round Open Cup game?
Yeah, I you heard me say it, Jeremiah. I was going to put out a stronger team, but injuries just forced us into, something else, something different. But your question is asking me, would I think that that's better overall for the club and for the young players in development? Maybe. But I'm not in the maybe business, and I'm not in the development business. That's Wade's job, and that's Henry's job. My job is to win games. And so I have a little bit different lens. So it's an interesting question.
But knowing that you won, though, obviously, I mean,
hindsight's
hard
easy.
to. I mean, easy to draw it up, right?
Yeah, it's easy. Okay, we landed there.
How important in your messaging is it in terms of telling the guys, okay, that was that, let's move on, even the young guys. That was a fantastic game, but in this business,
We're not moving on. I told them to enjoy that moment and think about what they accomplished and how they had to overcome, a couple of gut punches. Because it's hard. It's hard. You're winning 3-2, take 2-1, still kind of control the game. Rothrock scores 3-1. They come back 3-2, 3-3. A lot of teams might fold. A lot of young teams might fold. And we go 4-3 on Reed's wonder goal. They come back at the death. They come 4-4. I mean, those things are hard to come back from. So credit to them. We're not moving past that for a while.
but isn't there some energy that you draw from that, from a great win like that, to say this is the consistency that we need to continue? I don't mean
the message, Maz, was this organization prides itself on winning games, competing, next man up, grit, never give up. Those are the hallmarks of this club, and those young kids out there, and some of the senior guys too, showed up. Look, I'll throw another layer on there. Look, I felt bad for Cleveland because, look, he really couldn't do much on the 4 goals. He took 4 goals, so he was kind of dejected. But I told him, I said, you had a good game. Couldn't really do much about the goals. He went back there, did his job, made that save early on to keep it 0-0. Command of his box. I thought he was good.
Almost said the penalty kick.
Yeah.
Almost saved the penalty.
And then obviously you got eyes on RSL this Saturday, but then news came out that the next game is going to be Galaxy, where you just got a win down there. So thoughts on the next round up for the Open Cup?
Well, I'm sure Greg, after the last game, will be thinking, okay, how do I want to approach this? His league season hasn't gone as well as he would like. Is he going to focus on the league season? A run in Open Cup has, done a lot for franchises that aren't doing good in league. I don't know how he's going to play that, but we'll be ready. I mean, we're sandwiched in between a couple of tight games on either side of that Wednesday, so it's going to be tough for us. But we're going to go out there and put a competitive team out there and see what we can do.
On that note, exactly. Obviously, we'll see with injuries, but on that note, do you still intend to put more emphasis in the Open Cup for that next round game?
Yeah. I mean, let's see what our next couple of league results, how they go, and then we'll see who I put on the field for the Galaxy.
Nuhu, any update?
He's still dealing with an illness. They're overturning every stone, every rock. He's got every blood test, everything, but he still doesn't feel right. Chills, a little bit sick. They don't know if viral. They can't really put their finger on it. So we gave him the day off. Just stay home, rest.
How's he feeling?
Who?
Justice James.
Well, he was there at the game last night a little bit, but then I think in the middle of the game he was getting chills and cold, so we sent him home.
How's Christian?
Christian, Jeremiah, I'm going to rule him out for this weekend. He had a little bit of a setback earlier in the week, and it's our opinion that it's just not worth the risk. I mean, Christian's long-term health is way more important than trying to push him. I mean, maybe we could have pushed him. We're not going to do it. His health is way more important.
Yeah, it looked like Josh was pretty active.
He's full in. Kid was happy to get back on the field, chomping at the bit. He's ready to go.
Is that all? I guess
Raul is still
right. Yeah, but I think that's all the
Jacob Castro still coming back from his adductor.
Raul,
Last couple, guys.
yeah, when he was running around and I had to take my picture, his picture, he had a message. He was like, "I'm coming back. I'm almost there."
Right. Some of the senior players were there. They stayed for the whole game. They were there with the speech after the game because I had to give out game balls to, Ethan, Rothrock, and Reed because it was our first professional goal. Nico, Raul, Yaima, they were all there. They stayed till the end. Gotta love it.
Character.
You gotta love it. Good. That locker room's a tight locker room.
This is a sort of an ongoing debate, but or ongoing discussion. But the idea of how seriously an organization takes the Open Cup, do you think sort of those elements that players are coming on their off day to watch you play, like does that maybe speak more to the seriousness than just what the lineup you put out is?
I just think they do it to support their teammates. I don't know if they're looking at it on the big view, like maybe if I'm understanding your question, Jeremiah. I think organizationally, yes, it says a lot, but those guys are doing it to support their teammates, not because they're supporting the organization and its goal to be competitive in each match. That's my job to message. That's coaching staff. That's the mentality that we want to put forward as a club. And then there's the guys that come on their off day and support their teammates. I think there's a little bit more of a human element to that.
How's your eye?
Thanks,
Better. It's getting better.